It's relatively easy to do a hair transplant, but it's very difficult to do it very well. And what creates a natural hairline is paying attention to the things that happen in nature. So the very edge of your hairline, that kind of brush border, contains soft, fine, single hair follicular unit grafts. Not only the type of graft, but also how you position those hairs along the hairline is important. So neither do you want rows or zigzags or anything where there is any pattern. You want it like the edge of a scatter diagram so that it's feathered and soft. A sort of interesting concept is the idea of the macro and micro irregularity. Micro irregularity refers to that feathering along the edge. Macro irregularity can be used if, for example, the most obvious example would be a widow's peak, a sort of V shape at the front of the hairline, but you can play around with that to recreate nature, basically. Where it goes wrong, in parts of the world where they pay less attention to naturalness, it looks very geometric. They might use coarse, pluggy, 3-hair follicular grafts along a hairline, and it looks very artificial. Patients often say they've had a friend who's been to Turkey and they don't necessarily know why it looks odd and unnatural, but you can spot it a mile off. It's harder than you might think to put singles along a hairline. I used to think it was just a case of simply selecting the singles from your pots of grafts that come out from the donor area, but you've got to pay very close attention to telogen hairs and hairs at different stages of the hair cycle that might disguise themselves as singles but have a dormant second hair that makes it into the singles pot but is actually a 2. So even relatively reputable hair surgeons will find the occasional 2-haired follicular unit graft right along a hairline, not because they don't know what they're doing, but because perhaps they don't know how to spot, or their team doesn't know how to spot those very, very subtle telogen hairs that might mimic a single but is actually a 2.